What if I told you that the miraculous acts performed by Jesus over 2,000 years ago are not just stories to be admired but powerful events that hold life-changing truths for you and me? Yes, the miracles of Jesus are not merely history, they are packed with spiritual lessons, practical insights, and even a few surprises that you might not have thought about before. In today's video, we're diving into the top 10 miracles of Jesus, not just to marvel at their grandeur but to explore what they mean for us today and how they can still bring transformation, hope, and faith into our everyday lives. If you're looking for inspiration, faith-building moments, and maybe even a few laughs, you've come to the right place. By the end of this video, you'll discover how Jesus' miracles can uplift your spirit, strengthen your faith, and guide you to a deeper understanding of God's love and power. If you enjoy what you're watching, please hit the like button and consider subscribing for more content just like this. First, turning water into wine, John chapter 2 verses 1 to 11. Imagine this, it's a wedding day, everyone's having a great time, and suddenly, the unthinkable happens: the wine runs out. Now, in that culture, running out of wine at a wedding was not just inconvenient, it was embarrassing. But Jesus steps in quietly. He tells the servants to fill 6 stone jars with water, and what happens next? The water turns into wine, not just any wine, but the best wine served at the wedding. This first miracle shows us that Jesus is not only concerned about big issues but also cares about our celebrations, our joy, and even the little embarrassments of life. The deeper meaning? Jesus brings transformation. He takes the ordinary and makes it extraordinary. So, whether you're feeling plain or unimportant, remember that with Jesus, you have the potential to be exceptional. He brings fullness and joy into our lives, reminding us that He can turn even the most mundane moments into something beautiful. Second, feeding the 5,000, Matthew chapter 14 verses 13 to 21. Now, picture this, you're among a crowd of over 5,000 people. You've been listening to Jesus for hours, and suddenly, you realize you're starving. But there's no food truck around, just 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Not exactly a feast, right? But Jesus takes what's there, blesses it, and suddenly there's enough to feed everyone with 12 baskets of leftovers. This miracle is about more than just filling stomachs. It's about how God multiplies even the smallest offerings when given in faith. It's a reminder that our resources, no matter how limited they seem, can be multiplied by God's power. When we feel inadequate, like we don't have enough to offer, Jesus can still do amazing things with what little we bring to Him. So, whether it's time, talent, or even a simple prayer, give it to God, and watch Him work wonders. Third, walking on water, Matthew chapter 14 verses 22 to 33. Imagine this scenario, it's late at night, you're in a small boat, and suddenly a storm hits. The waves are wild, the wind is fierce, and you're scared out of your mind. Then you see something incredible: Jesus, walking on the water, coming straight toward you. Peter, one of the disciples, asks if he can join Jesus. Jesus says yes, and Peter actually steps out of the boat. For a moment, he's doing it, he's walking on water. But then fear sets in, and he starts to sink. Jesus immediately reaches out and saves him. This story teaches us about faith, fear, and focus. When Peter kept his eyes on Jesus, he was able to do the impossible. But when he focused on the wind and the waves, he began to sink. It's the same in our lives. When we fix our eyes on Jesus, even the storms don't seem so scary. But when we focus on our fears, we start to feel overwhelmed. So, remember to keep your eyes on Jesus, no matter how big the waves may seem. Fourth, healing the blind man, John chapter 9 verses 1 to 12. Now let's talk about a man who had been blind from birth. He spent his life sitting by the roadside, begging for help. Then Jesus comes along and does something unusual. He makes mud with his saliva and puts it on the man's eyes, then tells him to wash in the pool of Siloam. As soon as the man washes, his sight is restored. This miracle is not just about physical healing, it's about spiritual awakening. The blind man represents all of us who have been spiritually blind at some point, unable to see God's truth clearly. Jesus is the light that opens our eyes, helping us see not only the reality around us but also the truth about ourselves and God's love. It's a powerful reminder that Jesus brings clarity to our confusion, light to our darkness, and hope to our hopelessness. Fifth, raising Lazarus from the dead, John chapter 11 verses 1 to 44. This miracle is one of the most dramatic in the Bible. Lazarus, a close friend of Jesus, has been dead for 4 days, and when Jesus arrives at the scene, the place is filled with weeping and mourning. But Jesus goes to the tomb and calls out, "Lazarus, come forth." And to everyone's amazement, Lazarus walks out, alive and well. What can we learn from this miracle? It's about the power of resurrection, not just physically but also spiritually. Jesus shows us that he has authority over life and death. Even when things seem dead and gone, whether it's hope, a relationship, or a dream, Jesus can bring new life. This miracle reminds us that there is no situation too hopeless for Jesus to transform. Sixth, calming the storm, Mark chapter 4 verses 35 to 41. Imagine being in the middle of a lake at night, and a sudden storm strikes. The boat is rocking, the waves are crashing, and the disciples are terrified. But where's Jesus? Asleep in the back of the boat. The disciples wake him up in panic, and Jesus simply stands up, rebukes the wind, and says, "Peace, be still." Instantly, the storm stops. This miracle is about finding peace in the midst of chaos. It shows that Jesus has authority over the natural world and can bring calm to any storm. It's a message for us to trust God's peace, even when life feels overwhelming. Jesus isn't just a distant figure in history, he's the source of peace in our storms today. No matter how wild the waves of life may be, Jesus offers a calm that surpasses all understanding. Seventh, healing the woman with the issue of blood, Mark chapter 5 verses 25 to 34. For 12 long years, this woman suffered from a bleeding condition that made her life miserable. But when she hears about Jesus, she believes that just a touch of his garment will heal her. In a crowded street, she reaches out, touches his robe, and immediately feels the bleeding stop. Jesus turns around and says, "Who touched me?" Even though the disciples think it's a silly question after all, there's a crowd. Jesus knew that someone reached out in faith. This miracle is about persistence and faith. It reminds us that even when the odds are against us, even when life seems unfair, our faith can make a difference. Jesus didn't ignore the woman's need, he acknowledged her faith and called her daughter, showing how personal his love is. It's a lesson for us to keep reaching out to Jesus, no matter how crowded life may feel. 8. Healing the paralyzed man, Luke chapter 5 verses 17 to 26. Picture this: a paralyzed man and his friends are determined to get to Jesus, but the house where he's teaching is packed. So, they climb up to the roof, make a hole, and lower their friend down right in front of Jesus. Jesus not only heals the man physically but also forgives his sins. This miracle is about faith and forgiveness. It's a reminder that Jesus is more interested in healing our hearts than just fixing our bodies. The man's friends also teach us about the importance of community and support. Sometimes, we need people around us to help bring us closer to Jesus, especially when we can't make it on our own. 9th. Healing the centurion's servant, Matthew chapter 8 verses 5 to 13. The Roman centurion comes to Jesus with a simple but profound request. He wants his servant healed. But he believes that Jesus can do it with just a word, without even coming to his house. Jesus is amazed by the centurion's faith and speaks the word, healing the servant from a distance. This miracle shows us the power of faith in God's word. It reminds us that Jesus' authority is not limited by space or time. We can trust his promises, knowing that he can work wonders even from a distance. It's a call to believe wholeheartedly, trusting that Jesus' words have the power to heal and restore. 10th. The catch of fish, Luke chapter 5 verses 1 to 11. Let's end with the miraculous catch of fish. Peter and his companions had been fishing all night with no success. Jesus tells them to cast their nets once more, and suddenly, their nets are overflowing with fish. This miracle is about obedience and abundance. It teaches us that even when we feel like giving up, Jesus' guidance can lead to abundance. It's a lesson to trust his timing and direction, even when it doesn't make sense. When we follow Jesus' instructions, blessings can come unexpectedly and overflow our lives. There you have it, the top 10 miracles of Jesus and their powerful lessons for us today. Each miracle is a reminder of God's love, his provision, his peace, and his ability to transform our lives. These are not just historical events, they're living truths that can impact our lives right now. If you found this video inspiring or encouraging, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the San Lively social channel. Let's continue exploring the wonders of God's Word together, because there's so much more to discover. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay blessed.